How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back to get another review. A little bit of Belgian-influenced Imperial Stout time. It's one of my favorite kind of stout times, to be perfectly honest with you. In the form of Barrel of Monks Brewing's Parade of Souls. Yeah, Barrel Monks. Did a couple of their beers that were sent to me from a buddy down south, and I dug them. The first one I had was, I dug it, but it didn't have like a Belgian feel to me. But it ended up being a barley wine, so I think it was like I went into it with a little bit of preconceived notion. The second one I had was nice. It was actually a port barrel aged beer, and I actually didn't really mention much about the barreling. This came off like an aged kind of Belgian, and I dug it. But I was lucky enough to the brewery ended up contacting me and said, "Hey man, we're gonna send you some beers. Enjoy." And I said, "Fuck yeah, motherfucker." And I posted one more review of theirs. It was Chardonnay barrel-aged beer. It was kind of like an homage to my dog kind of thing. So it was a weird kind of marry that with kind of like a tribute to my dog. So is that weird? I don't know. The grieving process is odd. So, but we're a week removed from that, and I'm just feeling something. I want something a bit robust, a bit kind of layered more than just a base stout. So hopefully this one kind of foots the bill. Let's dive into it. As far as what it says in the label, it says Barrel Monks Brewing, Parade of Souls Imperial Stout. We have brewed and bottled Boca Raton, Florida. We have Belgian-inspired ale, 10% alcohol by volume. Parade of Souls is our Belgian-inspired version of Imperial Stout. It's dark as night, but don't be afraid of the dark. Bold and velvety notes of chocolate and dark fruits are there without the harshness found in many stouts. Join our parade, and through darkness you find the light. 2017, I believe. They go through bottle conditioning. Don't use a shaker pint, they say here. And that'd be that. Label-wise, it's actually pretty fucking cool. It's a lot of that Day of the Dead kind of artwork kind of going there. Black and white, black and gray kind of label there with that kind of Day of the Dead stuff going on. Painted faces and the Day de la Muertes kind of thing going on, a little casket in the background. I kind of dig it, So it's kind of cool. Got my fatty Novari Res glass here. It's a little bit of a bummerooski for me right now. George, George from Massive Troll Reviews. Everybody loves George. He's actually in Portland as I pour this. Trip I could have went on, but life, happens, and I couldn't go, so yeah. I was like, man, I want a stout, and I'm like, man, I wish I was up there with George, so yeah. A little bit of whatever you want to call it. Anyway, let's talk. First things first. That looks like fucking Cool Whip, that fucking head. I mean, that is chocolatey. The bubbles are so tight and compact, it just looks like cream on top of cream. Absolutely delicious, kind of that chocolatey, milk chocolatey colored head. And she'd be dark. She's not the darkest beer in the history of mankind. And definitely comes off more brownish on the pour. But in this fat glass, doing what it's doing, she be dark. So, Belgian Stout, what are we looking for here? Like I said on here, it's usually a less bittering kind of malt to it. Whether it's a combination of a less bittering malt or a combination of bittering malt, but with a little bit of kind of candied sugar, a little bit of sweetness involved, kind of balance it off, we don't know. What we're going to know is what we smell. That's all we can trust. Let's see if we can get a nose on her. She smells like a Belgian stout, man. The reason why I say that is Belgian stouts always have this kind of, how do I say it? Like wood chipper quality to me. Stick with me here. They end up having this kind of woody character, even if it's not barrel aged. And they have this, usually have this soft, very soft kind of anise thing going on. This kind of soft black licorice thing combined with this kind of earthy, woody kind of thing. Is it because the way they use the malt is the husk thing left behind? I don't know. Is it, it's more likely than not the yeast character kind of following through. But I usually get those, and those that are kind of the big things that usually kind of make a Belgian stout, as opposed to just being a stout or an imperial stout. So yeah, it has that kind of wood chipper thing. I know that's a weird one to kind of talk about. And it's like a wood chipper, like if you ran the wood chipper too fast and the wood's getting scored or scorched slightly to where it has a smoky character to it, it comes off like almost like a kind of slightly touched charred barrel character. Lack of better explanation. So it has that. The chocolate is coming off like a rich, deep kind of, just kind of a more of an adult, spicy chocolate. Yeah, I'm having a hard time believing that's just yeast in there, because that spiciness is pretty fucking cool. Almost like a Mexican chocolate without the cinnamon and without being any kind of milk chocolate. It's more of kind of like a base, pure kind of chocolate, like a real chocolate. This is a fun fucking nose. This is a fantastic smelling beer. Every minute I huff it. Gotta huff that beer, baby. It just becomes more and more delectable. So I'm just going to quit, because it's the same thing each time. It's just a little bit more robust, a little bit more robust. So I just want to dive in, see what she's got. Cheers. That's a killer fucking beer. That's a really good beer. It's got to be the yeast fucking carrying the day on this one. That's a good beer. This is by far the best beer I've had from these guys. Wow, that's fantastic. So, you're getting the stoutiness, because that's a technical term. You're getting that rich, deep, dark stout. But in Belgian stouts, more so than American stouts, more on the imperial side of things, they tend to come off a bit more fluffier, a bit more creamier, a bit more kind of imperial porter-esque. You definitely have that going on here. The lack of aggressive, I don't know if it's the charness, whatever brings in that less bitterness, which I think it has to do with the malt thing here, virtually omits every coffee note you typically get from these big barrel-aged stouts. A lot of barrel-aged stouts, I half the time don't know if they have coffee in them or not, because they're just, it's that imparted from the malt. You get zero of that there. That's another kind of big, telling point, or a big kind of, thing with Belgian stouts. Usually I don't remember getting a ton of kind of coffee vibes off them. The yeast here is, like I said, that kind of weird, subtly spicy kind of anise thing, combined with that subtly kind of peppery thing that comes off very kind of wood-like and husky, to the point where you almost feel like you're getting a lot of like wood tannins going on because your mouth is so dry, but I think it's all just yeast-driven. I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to the brewery, or if they, when they see this, let me know, please. If this is a core 4 beer, I'm blown away. Because I feel like there has to be something else going on in here. The spiciness, the amount of taste beyond the malt and the hops and the water, it's so vibrant. It's so specific that if this is just a core 4 beer, then this is fantastic. I tend to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say hard, because obviously I'm not being hard on this beer, but I tend to be a bit more kind of enthusiastic, both in the positive and negative when it comes to Belgian-based beers. If you're making a Belgian beer, I drink it, I'm going to really kind of speak to it, because I just know it so much better. The new hops that I tend to do a lot of reviews from, that's because people send me that. And I am not a big IPA guy until hops changed the way they were used and the way they're cultivated. Belgian beers has been my jam for fucking forever. So it's like, if you've ridden a bike your whole life and you never stopped, but then you just started skateboarding 5 years ago, you could be a really good skateboarder, but you're not going to be as comfortable as you are on a bike. And that's kind of what happens with me with Belgian beers. And this is just killer stuff. It almost, the only thing, almost tastes like there's Belgian cane sugar involved in this too. Which it could be. Nothing wrong with that. The thing that, so core 5. Let's go core 5 instead of core 4. Because there's candied sugar if that's in there. You know, it can, you know, it could be a thing with a stout. Couldn't be a thing with a stout. Anyway. I think this would be a super awesome, wild, funky beer. Sure, you know, that kind of goes hand in hand with Belgian beers, but if you kind of wild, funky yeasted this thing, this could be a world killer. I think this could be something up there with some of the greats that do a lot of these kind of wild, funky, not necessarily sour stouts, but yeah, that's what I keep thinking here. I'm like, man, if this had like an aggressive, funky yeast, it could be just insane. But all in all, it's just an absolutely fantastic beer. Super tasty. Yeah, like I said, the beers that I've had from these guys have been fun. And it's gotten progressively better for me. But this one is the cream of the bunch so far. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's delicious. You know, it's not overly sweet. The yeast is the star of the show in a fantastically fun way. The malt is super cool because you kind of, I love coffee and beer, but to be able to strip that kind of bittering, astringent kind of coffee thing from it, but still be a robust stout is super fun, cool. Mouthfeel's fantastic. Just super fun beer. Let's talk about it. Is it one of the better stouts? Imperial stouts that I've had as of late? Yes. Let's do that. Don't say Belgian, don't say whatever, just Imperial stouts, yes. It just does it for me. But I'm a Belgian fan, so if you're going into this thing expecting pastry sweetness, you're going to be disappointed. Value and availability, don't know. I assume, you know, it's a $7.50 Belgian-based beer. It's probably $15 to $20 a bottle. Availability, I don't know if it's Florida only. Maybe somebody can chime in. And just say, if you like what, will you like this? If you like Belgian beers, and more specifically Belgian stouts, sure. Is it a little bit too on the nose? I don't know. But it's fantastically well done. The way each component is done, it absolutely comes off authentic, like it's a Belgian beer. And that is fantastic in its own right, but strip that all away, it's just a really good beer. So if you like Belgian beers, if you like stouts, but you always think they're a little bit too sweet, and, you know, if you just like good beer from breweries, obviously trying to do fun things that not a lot of people do, it's worth checking out. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, didn't, and you were in between, down there, words and stuff and things. This dude, social media, Massive Beers. Plug it in. Find me. Say hi. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a beer as tasty as this one. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.